Welcome to Property Pillars. This is a show where we talk to property professionals about buy-to-let investments, mortgages, land developments and other topics. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned investor, this is a show for you. How do we make money in property using an option? This is the topic of today's Property Pillars show. So on the show today we have Mr. Richard Shepherd of Invictus Developments, who's going to talk to us about options. So without further ado, I'd like you to welcome our expert for today, Mr. Richard Shepherd. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, options, people have heard about them being used in different contexts, not understanding truly what they are. Can you explain to me what exactly is an option?
Okay, so an option is a very powerful tool for use in property investment. So rather than somebody having to go out and buy a property using a traditional mortgage, having to get credit checked, bank qualified, etc., you can actually get hold of a property using a different kind of contract, which is called an option agreement. That way you don't have to get credited by the bank, you don't have to satisfy any sort of particular requirements, just if the property works, you can do it.
So Richard, tell me, how can I use an option to secure a property?
Well, what's probably good at this stage is to identify for exactly what an option is. So the option gives you the right, but not the obligation to buy a property. So I will have the right to buy that property from the seller, but I don't have to if I don't want to.
Okay.
So using that explanation, I can also sell a property using an option. So I can give somebody the right to buy the property, but they don't have to if they don't want to. So it's like another interface between buying and selling properties.
Okay, brilliant. Now, can you give me an example of one notably big option that people can relate to?
I think the biggest one is the O2 Centre. So after the Olympics, in London Olympics 2012, the O2 Centre became available, so pretty much. So that was sold for how much?
£1?
£1. The only problem was the person buying that particular option also had to service the existing debts on the property. So that run to several hundreds of thousands of pounds. So they had to service those debts, but the person buying the property worked out a way that they could make money while servicing those existing debts by running it as a sort of exhibition centre.
Okay, so how can I use an option to control a property?
Well, this is what we do day in, day out. So, we see a property we like, maybe we don't want to go the whole hog of getting a 25% deposit and actually buying that property. I can get an option to secure that property and control it for as little as £1.
Wow.
And, as long as the seller is willing to sell that property to me on that basis, everybody's happy.
Okay. In a typical property scenario, what sort of property would an option best work with?
Well, we use them often in the sort of north and in the northwest on negative equity properties. Okay, so if you've got a property, the property's worth £100,000 on the open market, and let's say that the outstanding mortgage on that property is £110,000. Nobody's interested. None of the property investors are interested at all. But if I tell you that that property will cash flow at £300 per month, then you can take that property on an option. What are the benefits to the seller? The benefits to the seller are that if they sold that property on the open market, they'd have to dig into their pocket for £10,000 to give to the bank. Whereas your solution that you're giving them, they don't have to find anything at all. You take the property on, you control that property, and you're able to make £300 a month without having to sort of extend any of your money at all.
Okay. So clearly there are risks in every strategies. What are the risks, generally speaking, that you find exist with using an option?
There are risks, but the risks are very much reduced. So if you're going to buy any property, let's say it's worth £100,000 again, you're going to get a buy-to-let mortgage on the property, maybe you're going to have to put in £25,000 of your own money to buy that property. There are risks in anything. With an option, that could be £1, it could be £1,000, it could be £10,000. It's a lot more sort of minimised in terms of buying that property or getting that property on board.
Okay. What are the average costs of an option?
Very similar to a normal sort of conveyancing, buying a property. It's probably a little bit cheaper. You don't have to get a sort of survey on the property. You don't have to pay mortgage arrangement fees or mortgage broker fees or anything like that. All you are going to pay pretty much are your legal fees, which are pretty much standard these days across the board.
Okay. And are they legally binding?
Yes, they are. As long as the seller is legally represented by an independent solicitor, yes, they're legally binding, and they do, and they have stood up in court.
Okay. My final question is, can you secure an option against the property by way of a charge?
You can do that. In our estimation, it's better to do it not with a charge, because with a charge, the original mortgage lender has to be notified, and you have to get their consent. In our estimation, it's better done with a restriction on the property, so that way the mortgage lender doesn't have to be notified.
Okay. Well, this is great. Thank you so much, Richard Shepherd of Invictus Development. Having you on the show has been great. We've had a lot of information about options here. I just want to say that Richard has a coaching, mentoring team, and he also does consultancy on the use of options. He's also written various articles and books about options. So if you want more information about Richard Shepherd, you can find the link on our website about Richard Shepherd and the various articles he's written. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to Property Pillars.
Yes, thank you very much, Toyin.